I'm very amazing and very cool. And I am going to turn off Funhouse because they are watching terrible things for no reason. Yep, they are watching porn. Alright, so let's do this. And currently, people are, let's see, just soft. I'm gonna put some lotion on my hair. People don't realize that lotion dries you out sometimes, but I'm gonna put Aqua 4 and it'll get really curly and stuff. It'll look really cool. So let's see if it's like the same color as this side. So they both seem like it's the same color, but I think this side's darker than this side. So I think this side's darker than this side. I'm gonna turn on the light in a second. So I don't know. People don't get where their stuff is sometimes. They try to act like they're kind of just waiting for something. Sometimes they're, I mean, I don't know. But I think that a lot of times, most people don't realize that most of those things that have been done or been around, don't realize that it it makes kind of like an imprint on your brain, and it affects people around you because of suggestion and a lot of different things. And people don't realize that sometimes they kind of don't think the same way you do. You know, they don't think the same way that I do because I am 32 years old, and I don't know. Just people don't get it, I guess. So we're going to understand that a lot of people think that I'm either disabled or something like that, and I am technically on disability, but they have to understand like two things. That most of the time I'm trying to kill this quarter and this 2 nickels. Done and done. Good job. Awesome. Most of the time, people don't realize that I love to joke. I love messing with people. It's great. It's an awesome thing. But even more so than messing with people, I like educating people about what's going on in their city, or what's going on in their life, or what's going on in their. Basically, that's why science is a thing. Because even though it's a snapshot, it's a pretty accurate concept for a lot of people to be able to realize different concepts got him. And this is the reason why people don't realize this whole concept is as kind of I don't know, it's overdone. Like, that's the reason why they think that this game isn't going to go anywhere, and they think that, oh, it's the same thing over and over again. But if they stick with it, they'll realize that there's going to be a sequel. And there are going to be really cool updates for awesome stuff that people want, that people like, that people could get and or make and create and then like be able to make and do cosplay for, and then get them to make a sequel and get them to make another game, and because groundswell is everything, all right, in a game and for a developer basically, for a game, not everything, but people don't understand that sometimes they're out of luck sometimes, or they're out of time to be able to conceptually come up with a game design or a game concept. And most of the time I see people making stuff and I'm like, yeah, but like the whole realization of that whole thing was like it's like people want to be surprised sometimes, you know. People want to be like, they want to build something on, and they want to make people kind of like wait for stuff. And if you're not exactly into that, then you're probably not going to be into video games. But there are also other games that are actually kind of like, I want everything now, and I always wanted everything now, and it's called tabletop games. That's usually the reason why a lot of people in the 70s and 80s didn't do a lot of soul searching or anything like that, because they were too distracted by the amount of awesome games there were on tabletops. Like there's Monopoly, there's a bunch of stuff. There's let's see, wait, what kind of stuff was there? There's Monopoly, there's Life, there's Operation, there's a bunch of different things. And actually, people didn't realize that kind of steadied the hand of a lot of different kids that were feeling disabled. It realized the cognitive ability of a bunch of different people, and a lot of times there were people that didn't realize that they were kind of like revolutionizing a bunch of different stuff and making it sure that people who have allergies to certain metals, yeah, and that's a true thing, and that's not a birth defect. It's most likely an adaptation to a certain metal, and then building up of that metal inside the body. And once that metal builds up inside the body, you create an allergy to it because you're full of it, basically. You know, like you're kind of full of something. So just realize that, like, the reality of the fact is, a lot of people that have stomach problems, they have this problem because they have a lot of a buildup of iron or zinc. And zinc is poisonous in heavy doses, and that's the reason why sometimes people get ulcers in their stomach and a bunch of different other things like that. And they don't realize that that when they go back to certain places or certain things, like foods or emotional instability, they're basically not killing themselves, but they're making themselves kind of sick because they're raising their heart rate to try to either burn it off or put it in their bloodstream, not realizing that all the time that builds up in your stomach and it builds up in your digestive system, and it takes a little while to be able to burn that off or to build that up in your system. And people don't realize that, but they don't think that they're I guess what is they don't think that they're realizing a thing. They just think that they're creating something, and they think that they're making something with their own minds, and it's more has to do with the rest of your body than it does to your mind, because your mind can tell you what you want to hear all the time. It can tell you that everything's okay and everything's cool and everything's and everything's great, everything is awesome, that whole thing. It's like a mental thing. It's like a mental coping tool to be able to deal with trauma, or yeah, or like small things that you wouldn't normally get past when you were a kid. Yeah, you know, it's like stuff that you didn't realize or stuff that you didn't hear, and a lot of people didn't really notice sometimes because they were just like too wrapped up in themselves. But they didn't think that kids tell the truth sometimes a lot too, and a lot of times people don't realize that that they're stuck in the situation no matter what, and their minds are not moving as fast as they were, and that's the reason why a lot of times people don't get it. So they don't get it sometimes because they don't want to get it, because they think that the more they think that they're awesome, the more they think that they're good, the more they are awesome. But understandably so, they have to realize that their body is going through changes, their mind is going through a bunch of different things, and they have to realize that most of the time when people actually get to got him. Alright, now we're gonna heal. Take this Molotov cocktail, painkillers, first aid. I'm gonna get another red dot sight, and we're gonna keep the guns we have, because get those 9mm bullets, frag grenade, 4x scope on that wing, and then so the more people think about the consequences, or the what's the word, the humanity of everything, you know, you have to realize that most of the words were actually meant to be able to confuse people who wanted to do bad stuff. Most English words originated to be able to stop people from doing terrible things, and also controlling not what people might think a notion, or try to control as far as mind control is, but more so that red dot sight on there, and then alright, but there were like a lot of different things that actually people knew that they got wrong in Europe, and the reason why their stalemate is actually happening most of the time between the EU and Brexit and all the other different things, because they could say that they're doing well, or they're doing something about something, but they're not doing anything. Like they're literally just sitting on their asses sometimes and just quitting stuff because they hate it. But they don't understand that that's the reason why these governments were created, so when people get tired, yes, and don't want to do anything, they are able to be taken care of. And that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. But it leaves something to the air, basically, up in the air, kind of. Because and that thing basically is, or whatever that thing is the emotional stability of people who are actually being worked to the bone. The emotional stability and the psychoanalytical what's the word? The psychoanalytical procedures that it takes to actually take those people out of those certain situations, or those things in their mind that they're constantly going over and constantly trying to fix, trying to repair that part of their brain. And that's where the lie comes in that actually helps. Okay? And the reason why people are constantly focused on things that are real is because they're not focusing on things that are fake. They're not focusing on the things that they need to be able to make in order to help themselves the fantasy, or to keep the happy place alive, basically. That's kind of like the whole Adam Sandler stuff, and people don't like his movies as much in Europe, I don't think, but They don't realize that the reason why is because some of the things don't have simple answers that are complicated. That's the truth. That's very much the truth. But for yourself, as far as things go, to be able to calm your mind down, a lot of dudes just they run things off as a certain thing, and they're not really concerned about whether or not it should be something, you know. So most of the time, people kind of use the fact that, oh, we've been through wars before, we've been through things that are terrible, and that's what keeps us strong. No. The fact is that people wear themselves down and they get lazy because they have a natural inherent ability to be able to be, if they're informed about something, then they do nothing. What? Like Irish people and stuff like that, they just sit down, eat food, drink, and have a good time. Or like a bunch of people who sit down, drink, have a good time, or go out to like a restaurant or something like that. So when that kind of... There we go. There we go. Oh, almost got me. 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 There's another dude right there, I think. There he is. Where is he at? There he is. Alright, we gotta go. Okay, so he's by that tree right there. He's coming up, I think. And there he is. Nope. That's a bush, but we're gonna look past it or around it. There we go, there he is. There he is, he's getting shot at, so we're just gonna wait. There he is, he's down. Where's the other dude at that's shooting at him? Alright, let's go in here and see if we can find healing and stuff. No healing, but I have stuff. Alright. The reason why I'm keeping the duckbill on me is because there is, usually when there's... Okay, he's closer now. So let's use this gun again. There he is. Got him. There's a dude over here too, I think. And we gotta get out of here before this dude comes and tries to kill us. Okay, they're coming, so he's over here. Alright. That was really nice. I did a pretty good job, I think. Got 3 kills, 184. Not bad. So, most of the time, I think people don't realize where all those things come from. They don't realize where those emotions come from. And they come from the pit of your medulla oblongata. The little pit that tells you what you need to feel and what you need to think to be able to get through a traumatic situation or a traumatic thought. Because a lot of times people don't realize they bruise their brain when they move it too much. Or they do too many things too fast, and then their blood pressure goes high and their brain gets overstimulated. So that's the reason why a lot of people don't realize that, is because the reason for a lot of things like caffeine and a bunch of other stuff is to be able to block the inhibitors that stop your brain from overworking itself or overcharging, basically. Because people don't realize is that lightning stuff that comes out of your hands eventually. That's the reason why that Mr. Palpatine started looking the way he did, because he started doing what people would call in like the olden days, like dark magic kind of thing. So like breaking the rules and and trying to bring people back. How's it going, viewer? If you would like to message me, you can. I put it as a thumbs up. So, most of the time, I think people don't realize that that all that stuff actually is applicable in science, kind of, because when you do start to send signals to your hands or your brain to tell you or to tell anything that you're like doing something or saying something, it starts to sting at first, but like a lot of times people don't realize that they're making new nerve endings in their hands. And that's why a lot of older dudes, they do things really slowly, or they do things really like they try to do something slowly, and they try to build those muscles back up, find muscles that they used to build up or when they were younger. So and that's why they shake. So that's the reason why you're like they're trying to build up their sensitivity again in their hands, because they don't realize that sometimes they can do that, or people can actually do that by healing or just focusing on a certain thing for a specific amount of time. And that's why physical therapy tells people that they're actually a lot more resilient than they think they are. People who go through mental instability have to realize that they're changed for life. They're changed forever, but that doesn't mean that they're stopped or doomed forever. Okay, it means that. And a lot of kids, they take it as that. Like especially disabled kids and stuff, they believe that the fantasy or their own personal fantasy keeps them the way that they are and able to look at different things or to see and smell and hear and all that other different stuff. They think that that's like go to title screen. To see and smell and hear and all that other different stuff. So there are a lot of different ways that people they try to I'm just getting the phlegm out of my throat. They try to build on that sort of thing. They try to build on that sort of thing because they're trying to create like a mental callus in their mind to be able to make stronger synapses, basically. And that's what they kind of believe. Most Europeans are kind of thinking that they can do that because that's something that's been done before, but they don't realize that when they do that, they're starting to what's the word? They're starting to calcify their brain, and that's the reason why whenever you have or feel a certain impulse or thing like that, or you feel a certain pull or unpull or something like that, or in your brain, or you feel like a certain sensation or something, like, oh my God, they're doing neurosurgery. No, it's like. It's because you thought about that stuff a lot. You thought about a whole bunch of different things, and your brain is trying to mimic those things that you've seen on TV and all those other different things to make you realize that you're waking up certain parts of your brain. That's what your brain is doing, and the subconscious is running all those things that you've ever seen to be able to make you realize that you're just waking up certain parts of your brain, and you're realizing different things that weren't there before. And that's like usually the most of it, but seldomly, most of the time, what actually happens is people are getting different abilities, and they are getting more senses, or they are being able to have perfect balance in situations where other people wouldn't have that, or not perfect balance, but resilient balance, basically, because they're basically moving and shaking so much that, or moving so much that that they're starting to push past what was their potential and starting to create new muscle. And that's what happened to a lot of people and where they used to be. Hello? That's employment accepting department. Thank you. All right. So the more that you do different things, the more that you make different things, there is not an evolutional track or a line that you must follow to be able to make that thing, but to create what you think is the best part of yourself, or to create what you think is good and how you think it's good, to be able to stay on a certain path and be able to understand that path. And a lot of dudes are angry and mad and a whole bunch of different things because they didn't know that basically that time would end. Would some people actually really were betting on the end of the world sometimes, and that's where all those suicidal things come from. Like I'm tired of everything. It sucks. This sucks because didn't even know and I had no idea. That's where those memes come from, where people will talk about death or talk about different things that are kind of that way. They didn't realize that they were getting sick over something that was completely menial, or they didn't realize that they had carbon monoxide in their house, or they didn't even see the mold that was actually growing or something like that. But most of the time, I think people don't realize a lot of things is that the more they realize a certain thing, the more they understand a certain product or anything, the more they don't understand that they're pushing back the inevitable. They will evolve. They will eventually adapt. They will eventually do something that is very extraordinary, and that's a given. But what they do with that, how they promote themselves, and how they act with a given nature or a given suspect emotion. Built by what they think is not real, or what they think is not true, or what they think is not the thing that they think it is. There are a lot of people on the other side of the hemisphere in Europe and Asia and a lot of places that have zero imagination. They all think logically. They all bend logically because they have to take care of themselves for a very long time. And that's generational, basically. And that's the reason why they had to take care of other people. And that's why a lot of kids and a lot of people who are over the age of 21 still live with their parents. And the reason why a lot of those things happen is because that's about to happen here, as far as economically goes. And the more we cut ourselves off from different people, the less information we know about exactly what happens, because they don't think they can fix it most of the time, or they don't think they can actually do things to be able to fix those things, or be able to have those situations to be able to help themselves. And the more I think about it, the more time that actually goes by, and the less time I actually have to or less time that anyone actually has to fix it. The more so I see back into what people are actually experiencing, and the more I see into that experience, the more I realize that experience isn't true in nature. The more that they kind of seclude each other from one another, the less money that there will be made, and they have to know that, and they have to realize that eventually they're just going to have to barter and trade, and I'm not a trader or a barterer, but I'm an extremely good haggler. So, yeah, I'm a haggle. I haggle, and that's like my main deal. I haggle. I definitely know how to haggle, and the more I create some sort of cognitive dissonance or emotional distance of certain things. I gotta start this over again. Let's see, wait. Hello? Yes? Uh-huh. Oh, hey, how's it going? Yeah, yeah, uh, yeah. I get paid, let's see, hold on one second. I gotta make a check. Hold on. I'm gonna get, let's see, can I build that up to 35? Well, I'm gonna have to send in a check because my debit card is kind of out of money right now. So yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. Well, I'm gonna get a money order and send it to y'all. So I'll do 35. Okay. Mm, okay. Mm, mm. You too, sir. All right. So the more I think about a lot of things, uh, the more I think about a lot of stuff in my daily habits and my my daily notions of wanting to build something or to make something that makes sense to me. Um, the more I realize that I'm trying to build a notion that places and things aren't the reason why people are feeling sad, and and the reason why people should just laugh at those things is because sometimes it wasn't what they thought it was. Sometimes it was about a lot of death and a lot of memorials that people. The reason why I respect and make fun of religion constantly is because I respect it so much. And the reason why I realize that a lot of people, they take that stuff very seriously, um, is because sometimes they need to realize that a lie sometimes happens, and and to be able to create some sort of distraction, to be able to build some sort of uh, curating sense, and the more people realize that there's something available to a difference, to a differentiation, um, or to a realization of fact, and to bring themselves to that realization, they have to understand that the more they realize their life isn't fleeting, and their life isn't fleeting, the more they have confidence and self-confidence. The more they believe whatever that lie may be, or whatever that lie is, the more they believe in themselves, and the more they understand that that is. The more they believe in someone else, or a higher power, or anything like that they believe in. I believe in the universe, specifically. That's me. And the more I realize that the situations available to different people are are um are fleeting, and in most cases pretty wonderful. They'll realize that the fleetingness of the lie, of whatever lie you're creating, or whatever thing you're creating, to be able to tell a truth by telling a lie, whatever thing you're making, like a movie or a play or anything like that, is to tell a history, is to tell a base societal culture. And a lot of times people don't realize that they took actually a lot of different things from a bunch of stuff in Europe, and a bunch of stuff in places, and they created this um, this what is it called, cognitive uh, distancing, basically. Cognitive, it's like, an error has occurred. It's just, people aren't always attached to their own problems, and that's the reason why I can just go back and I broke the game. Obviously.